4, 3, 2,
We're
1.
live.
It's showtime.
Hello, everybody. Season 8.
Howdy.
Season 6, episode 8, or season 5? Season 6.
9.
Season 6, episode 8.
That's
I did
what
my
it
homework.
is.
It says it on my screen. That's how I know.
Yes.
Or is it? I thought we were last time was season or episode 8.
You know what? I might have to change the title of this. I thought I looked in my list and it showed this time as 8, but maybe my YouTube channel is saved incorrectly. I don't know.
Well, that's
we're gonna have 2 8s this season. Let's see.
8.5.
Yeah, 8.5. Let's
5.
see. I don't even know.
8.5.
Well, on my list, it shows episode 7 was me last time. So you're right. It's probably episode 9.
9.
So I'll just have to change that. That's all.
Time flies.
Yeah, that's just a quick edit.
Yeah. All right. Clarification. Episode 9. And looks like we have a couple of people probably in the house. Looks
Got Brad.
So, yeah, it looks like we got Brad. Hey, Brad. Thanks for joining and showing a couple other people.
And since you went live, I was able to find the show. So
there you go.
Yeah, it's like a lot of times it's like I'm looking for where the show is, because it's supposed to pop up in your feed, and I'll hit the little bell icon to let you know that you're supposed to get notification of it, and sometimes it's like it doesn't show up in my feed at all.
Yeah, YouTube isn't 100%. Even on, there's times when all of a sudden I forget there's a subscriber that I watch all their videos, and it doesn't pop up in my feed for like weeks, and I miss like a couple of their videos. I mean,
I have that all the time.
And I'm like, I haven't seen a video of Rusty's for a while, and I look back, well, you've done like 4 of them. And I'm like, I missed it.
Yeah, it's like YouTube isn't happy with me at all right now because they pulled me out of their sharing feed. I haven't got a new subscriber in 2-3 months now.
Yeah, so that can't be even right though, right?
Yeah, I have been sitting at the same exact number for the last 3 months for subscriptions. And I'm normally, even when we first started this channel, I was usually getting 5 or 10 a month.
Yeah, it's always just a few, always. Even when I wasn't putting up videos, it always showed there was a few more all the time. I don't know.
Yeah.
Looks like we got Clark in the house. Hey, Clark. Looks like
Clark.
he's dealing with some heavy metal right now.
Lifting some weights
in the garage, lifting some weights while he's watching the show, listening to the show.
Call it.
We'll try to pump him up. There we go.
We're here to pump you up. I get over on my weight bench over there and I work out.
It's like
strikers.
YouTube is changing some things
here. I've actually met Arnold Schwarzenegger. He's pretty cool.
I wouldn't doubt it.
Yeah, he's a showman. That's basically how you put it.
Yeah.
I think you guys pointed out Mel is joined.
Yep. No.
Yeah, definitely.
Cool.
YouTube has changed things. They changed their analytics, so people with small channels don't get noticed as much. They don't want to pay us anymore.
I haven't noticed because I haven't really been on YouTube that much.
Yeah, it's like I went from making a nice bit of money where about every 2 months I was getting a paycheck from YouTube to now I think I might get one in about 6 to 8 months. Just tell you how much.
Okay. So how does that work? I mean, do you choose to be monetized or not, or is it automatic? Okay.
You have to choose. You have to go through all the hoops and everything and set up a bank account and all that to be paid.
They've changed it over time because I dropped my monetization. Like I actually was a long time ago. I was able to be monetized and I was monetized and then I stopped being I chose to stop and I'm not actually trying to get it again, but for whatever reason I was like looking at it like a couple of months ago and I noticed that they have several rules in place, and you have to be better than the channel I have now, and in multiple ways in order to now be monetized.
Yeah.
If you were to let it go, Rusty, you wouldn't be able to get back in, I don't think.
No, it's which is one of the reasons they throttled me down, because I don't meet their new criteria. I don't.
So what kind of things, Palmer, for example, do you mean? Like views, or like, what do you mean?
Actually, it was a combination of subscriber. Now I think it's a combination of subscribers and also something to do with unique views or something like that. Like it's a metric, like per video or something like that. And in any case,
you have to have so many views per month. You have to have so many subscribers, and then unique subscriber views per is like, I was monetized and then they unmonetized me. And then I reached a new criteria, and then they allowed me to become monetized again. And now they've switched things out again. They keep doing it where they kick the goalpost farther down.
Because wasn't it originally you only needed like 500 or something? I mean, years ago.
No, you only need to have so many views.
Okay, because I remember when they went to 1,000 or something.
There was something like that. They've changed it over the years a lot.
Okay.
I think.
Yeah, I don't even know.
I don't know. Perhaps I'm wrong, or just perhaps it's just principled to sort of like kind of cutting your nose off to spite your face. But I felt like I was at a point where I didn't really want to. I felt like when I was taking money from the channel that I had more of an obligation, like to do stuff, and. Yeah. I actually wanted to justify it being more of a hobby channel and not really caring how much I put things out and just stuff like that. And one of the ways I did that was, well, one, they just were starting to go crazy with the amount of ads they were making, like viewers watch when you're monetized. And so I didn't want to put that on my subscribers. And then two, and I hated when I was seeing it too, but then two, I felt like, whether or not it's true, I felt like, I could actually enjoy it the way I wanted to more if I'm not actually taking money from it. And that's just a weird personal thing, but I don't know.
One thing that I personally do, because I hate having commercials in the middle of a video.
Oh God, I hate that.
And I was like, I was watching a video today and they put a 2-hour commercial in the middle of a 15-minute video. I'm like, I'm not going to watch a 2-hour video. I personally do this is a kind of a pet peeve for having videos tossed in the middle of my own videos. If you see a commercial in the middle of my video, I didn't put it there.
Right.
Is what you can do is you set it up like when you upload the video, you tell it, say, where do you want your videos? I want them at the very beginning. So if you want to skip them, you can skip them.
Right.
Or you can put them at the end. They're either or else sometimes they get put up those little pop-up ones that in the middle
at the bottom.
Yeah, those you have no control over.
Okay, because I've seen some channels where they'll like it'll be kind of like at a commercial break and they launch. Then that's when the ads are patched in there.
Yeah, they can personally set it up to where every 2-3 minutes they'll have a commercial, and when that starts happening, I just automatically tune it out. It's like I'll go away and I'll go watch something else, because I do not want to constantly have to be interrupted by.
It used to be like you'd get a commercial, but like after 4 seconds you could skip the ad, right? And now you have to usually watch one ad and then the next ad you can skip. I'm like, it's so frustrating.
That's YouTube done that, where they want you to be forced to watch.
They're making you watch one for sure. I used to be able to skip out. And it seems like the bigger channels, because I think some of the smaller channels, the first commercial, you can skip after like 4 seconds or whatever it is.
Yeah, Topic tonight.
What?
Topic tonight.
Commercial.
On YouTube. Why we don't like YouTube.
Well, because I've thought about that. We talked about that last time. Like when I quit, I hadn't put up a video. I don't know if you noticed, Palmer, but I did put one up here just a couple days ago or something like that.
I haven't really been on.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Really. But the point being was I hadn't put one up in like, I was a week or 12 days or something from a year that I hadn't put a video up.
Oh, wow.
But it made me, last show, we were talking out loud about it. It kind of made me think about why I hadn't done that. And it was an interesting thought process. Yeah.
I'll have to go back and look now that I know. I'll have to go back and look.
Well, you know, you don't. I just put them out there if people want to, if they enjoy it.
No, I enjoy seeing. I enjoy seeing them.
It's just fun to share, but if it's not somebody's thing, move on.
It's always made me wonder: is if your channel isn't active, do they eventually remove your channel?
Well,
I don't think so.
But the thing is I was still showing, because I did a couple times during the summer. I looked in to see, you know, it shows like how many views and new subscribers and stuff, because I thought, well, I suppose nobody's, and I was getting more and more subscribers and views like than I had back when I was, you know, somehow it was still, the videos were popping up, people were watching them when they do a search, I assume.
Sure. Yeah. There are people when I first started painting again and I was looking at tutorial videos, there are YouTube channels that haven't been in effect for 10 years that are still showing in my feed the videos I watched, like how to paint a cloak, you know, like from a guy that just I watched and I really liked his videos. They were there from a really long time ago, like a decade ago. They're still there. So I don't think there's
I don't think so either. I just wonder if by chance you don't, like your video won't come up, not in your, suggested videos. That's what, like on my right-hand side, usually sometimes it's left field, but a lot of times it's something related to what you're watching. And that's how sometimes I find other channels too, because I'm like, oh yeah. There you go.
It's like my channel definitely.
It's
like definitely my channel has been removed from the suggested video.
Because I figure eventually you're not in the suggested if you're not, but maybe your videos that get more watches, like, because I have a couple of videos for whatever reason, people keep watching them all. It's like my number 1 and 2 videos are always the same too. And, so those are still by people searching, I guess it's coming up. So I suppose it keeps it sort of active that way, but I don't know.
Right.
I don't know how to do it.
Well, why don't we do our personal updates before we go on to our main topic for the night? And I'll just do like clockwise, starting with Rusty here. I'm going to focus on you here, Rusty. So what do you got going on?
Clockwise would be Dan, but hey.
Well, it depends. Funny.
Depends where you start.
It shows.
Let's see. I don't know if we've seen this guy the last time. I was working on him.
Oh, you were working on him. Yeah, you weren't that far.
Yeah, it's like I got more work done. I've got all the horns and everything completed on him. And so really all I have to do with this guy is I got to do the rider is pretty much what I'm left with. And I got to do the 2 eyes and that's it. The rider and the eyes, and this guy's done.
Nice.
Cool.
That's like painting the whole army in itself. That thing.
Yeah, it's a lot of work. It's like the horns I did. It's like last show you seen me putting highlighting where all the horns were.
Yep.
So it's like I went through and I finally on Sunday afterwards I finished finding all the horns and everything, and then I put a wash over them. Then I brought them back out and I put more washes on them. So there's like three different layers of wash on those horns to get them to have that weathered look to them.
Yep.
Nice.
And tonight this week I've been working on more BattleTech stuff. I got these guys.
Nice.
BattleTech. Yeah.
More BattleTech. There's got those. That's awesome. And then I got some vehicles I'm working on. Got some. That's a Pegasi.
Red ones go fast.
Yeah,
they go faster. Yeah.
Then we got some Goblet. More cool vehicles. And then obviously I still have all these guys. These guys here. I got all the metallics, but I have to go back over and start picking out all the flesh tones.
Those are the ones you had to cut them off their base and reposition. I couldn't quite see.
The BattleTech ones, this is like, here's one that I cut them off their base.
Yeah, to get them squared up on the frontage,
And then I just super glued them back on.
Yeah.
It was simple. It was just
you shouldn't have to do that.
Yeah, they're on a peg. There's
the
peg system. They're on the base itself, and all I did was I just took the X-Acto knife and just laid the mech down. And was like, cheek.
Yep.
That quick, shave, and then super glued them on.
Lock them in, yeah.
So it was maybe a minute worth of work, and they were realigned. And I was like, if it takes me that long to do it, Sure, it's annoying, but
it's not a game changer. Yeah.
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 The drink of tonight is Tin Cup.
Oh, cool.
I don't even
You've
know
had
what
that one on
is.
the channel, right?
Huh?
You've had that once here, right?
Nope. First time.
Oh, maybe. I wonder if you showed it to me at one point. Just in a.
Yeah, I've talked about it.
Yeah.
So is it a whiskey or what is it?
It's American whiskey. This is out of Colorado.
Never heard of it. Okay.
Cool. I'll tell you in a second. Product of the US of A. I think it's out of Colorado. Mountain whiskey. You know. Jess Garber, founder. Cut with Rocky Mountain water. Bottled in elevation of 5,200 feet. So I think it's made in Denver or someplace like that. Over in that direction.
Tin Cup.
So we got Chris in the house from Walkabout Games.
Hey, there he is.
Thanks for joining us.
Oh,
nice.
Sounds good.
It's a rye whiskey, so. Oops, a little too much.
Okay. Just right. Perfect.
That's a two-finger, I think.
Yeah, but it's the bourbon basically, but you can't call it bourbon because it's not made in Kentucky.
Is that the problem? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bourbon is only made in Kentucky.
Okay.
So if you see a bourbon, it's from Kentucky.
Then you got
Tennessee. You got Tennessee sipping whiskey. Every state has their what they call a specialty type of stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
But
good.
When you smell it, you can definitely tell it's got rye in it.
Yeah.
So Dan, hobbying, gaming, what's up? What's going on with you right now?
A couple things in the last since the last show. I did finish that. Whoa, is that good?
Oh, I went to the dentist today.
Oh.
And I just realized that my gum's a little sore.
A little bit of a dry socket there with
That'll
whiskey
burn.
Yeah, it's like I got a little burn going there.
Yeah. Since the last show, I did finish that resin building I was working on for Stalingrad, which I posted some pictures on the Musty Wargamers Facebook page. And let's see. Oh, and then week ago Sunday, I did get together with Mark, that buddy of mine that lives, just right 20 minutes from Smitty.
Cool.
It's he's got a YouTube
Smith.
channel, but he hasn't been active for maybe 3 or 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
But anyway, he came over, and so it's the first game that I've played, tabletop game of any kind, since last June. And we had a blast.
Good.
It was fun catching up, and he came over here, and I had my table just jam packed with terrain and some new stuff I'd done since we'd last played a game, and he had his. I used my Soviets for the first time, which was fun. We played a 1250 list, so I got to bring more toys that way, and which was only about, I don't know, it wasn't even half the miniatures I'd painted, but it was fun, and he used his U.S. Marines, and we did a scenario where it had objectives. There were 4 objectives on the table, or was it 3? 4, and then we had them where each turn. Well, we were trying to decide what to use for objective markers, and I had these cows I'd painted up that are just eye candy, and I said, hey, I have 4 of them. Let's use those. So we did. And then we thought, hey, it'd be cool if each turn, if you don't possess the objective, it could wander D6 inches in a random direction. And so you were always kind of chasing the objective that way.
Chasing the cows around.
Yeah, I mean, whether it was a cow or whatever, but it was kind of fun because the objective would move, and it was hard to kind of time it out. And then you could lose the objective would stay with you. Basically, we put a dice in the bag for each objective of a different color. And when that got drawn out, whoever had the last draw went to the other guy, and he would decide which one to roll and see if it would move and in which direction. And if you chose one that another guy actually possessed, we rolled on a 1 on a D6, and it broke away, and it would move. And it really made a dynamic game. We had a blast.
Oh, that's good.
a game like that though, and that's what's fun about playing with Mark or Rusty too. But as opposed to most of my games, seems like get played in a tournament setting, and where it's like tabletop gaming in particular, I think is kind of like they say, it's a social contract. You have to decide that both of you are going to make it fun for each other. In my opinion, and we just do that well, and we just had a blast. So that was so much fun.
That's great.
That reminds me how much I love bolt action and just playing a game live with somebody in a ultra competitive environment. So that was great. And then I started painting some AWI miniatures again. Actually, I got about a year ago now, there was a channel, which I don't know if I should name or not, but he had so many subscriber drawing, and he had 3 different things, and you could choose which one you wanted to be entered into. And he had some Perry miniatures, AWI miniatures, and I put my name in for that, and I won them.
Oh, nice.
And they were painted. And then I got looking through them here, and some of them in one particular uniform painting, they were really pretty darn good, but they weren't as neat as like I would like them. So I've been working on those, basically just going over the top, adding some more shading, tidying them up where the brush got on the wrong color, and just kind of neaten them up the way. And then they weren't based; they were just they weren't on any kind of a base. And some of them, the arms had broke off in shipping because they were just kind of thrown in a bag. Right. And so did all that repair and readjusted the position of some of them. And that's the first actual Perry miniatures that I've ever painted. And the first ones I've got from my American War of Independence collection. So that's been a lot of fun. And then I took the rest of them. I don't know, he'll probably I don't know if it bums him out, but I stripped them. That's what I've been doing this past week. Stripped those. And then there were, I don't know, maybe 12 metal Brigade Games American War of Independence miniatures, and I stripped those too. So I got those all done in between while I was checking lambs and stuff, because I'm starting to get that going now too. But so anyway, I'm having a lot of fun.
AWI bug again.
Yeah, the last time I painted it, I was looking at the bottoms of the bases of what I painted. I always write on the bottom. I put them on kind of a tray, and I think the last ones I painted were like July of 2019. Been back when Rusty and I had probably played our last AWI game, but now it's fun. Now all of a sudden I'm like enthused about it again, and I've got some British I've been gluing together, because that's what I'll start. I'm going to start painting some of those now.
I think the last stuff I've painted for French Indian War might have been some natives from Crantera, and I've been getting an itch to do that too, to get back into it. And so I have a lot to paint actually.
Yeah, that's cool.
I still have a lot to paint, and so I'll probably do that at one point and get started with that. But nice update. Yeah. Oh, Russ got his.
Yep, there you go. Yep, you need to get started on your Continentals so I can.
Yeah, I got one more box of Hessians to do.
Okay.
And then I can start working on the Continentals.
Yeah, I'm starting on the British side of the. I bought that years ago when it was like half the price it is now, less, of that Liberty or Death box set of Warlord games that comes with the terrain and everything too. So anyway, sorry. Go ahead, Palmer.
Oh, no worries. Let's see here. I'm up. Well, today, from painting, I did actually have a game last week of Warhammer Fantasy, and that was really fun. And so I have a regular gaming partner that I play Warhammer Fantasy with most often, and he usually plays at this point. We still are playing the same armies. He's playing Orcs and Goblins. And we've actually fought to a draw. It was like a really good battle. Had a real funny moment where I was fleeing. I think it was with it was with my, I don't know if it was my chariot or I don't know if it was my Ungors or something, but it was like I fleed and I rolled like an 11 and he rolled a 10 and going after me. And it was just one of those moments where like, like you just almost got me, but didn't quite. And those are kind of fun, when that stuff happens. And we fought a really good battle. Like it was really kind of a draw for the most part. And our games have been pretty decisive recently. It doesn't usually a draw, and so we kind of both walked away feeling pretty good, and which was good. And that was good. That's
6th edition, right? You're playing?
Yeah. Still 6th, and enjoying it. Actually, still having fun with it. I'm working on these guys tonight. I haven't done anything since the last show.
Oh yeah,
I had a couple times when I thought to myself on the weekend, maybe I'll go down and paint a bit, and then I didn't. And so I need to listen to that voice sometimes and do a bit more. But let's see. Tonight I have got some bourbon, and it's actually Kentucky straight bourbon.
Wow.
I've never had this before. Well, I've had it. You can see that I've had it, but I've never had it before this bottle. This is a Costco huge bottle. So you're familiar with it, Rusty? It is a Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey. Made using our family's high rye mash mill and pure Kentucky limestone filtered water. I have tasted this already. I was going to get a Woodford Reserve big bottle because that's sort of my favorite bourbon. I would say Woodford Reserve is still my favorite after having this, but I actually do find this a little bit smoother in some ways.
Yeah, it's not bad.
It's actually nice. That was a BattleTech drink, by the way. I think I'm owed a couple. Well,
you got plenty of bourbon there to take.
Yeah, that's true. There's a lot of BattleTech in that bottle. That's what I'm having there. And let's see, cool. Zoom out here. It's funny. I know we have a couple topics tonight, and one of them. And I think Rusty, you. There you go. More stuff that you're pulling out there.
Yeah, I thought I had one box. I was digging out here, and I got 2 boxes.
You've already got a bunch of Hessians painted because you played them at my house. Yeah.
And then I realized I still haven't finished. I still got more redcoats to do.
Oh, nice.
So
get after it. What have you been doing? Get that BattleTech arrest.
We talk a lot about. So we have 2 topics tonight. One of them, and I think is the first topic, is free rules that cause you to end up wanting to buy more miniatures. I think was the topic. And then the second one is motivation to do YouTube. That motivation to YouTube, the interesting thing is motivation to even just hobby at all. I've been in a phase recently where I'm starting to see the appeal again to hobby. I know that sounds really bad. I actually have a friend talking to me about the Master of the Universe game, one of the He-Man games. And I'm not going to get it, but I see the stuff that he's showing me, and kind of like the Marvel, I look at it, I'm like, oh my God, when I was a kid, I was of that age. And I recognize all those characters and stuff. And I'm like, wow, that would be fun to paint. But then it just has me kind of excited, and then I'm thinking about other things that I have to paint, because that same excitement in some ways has propelled me into excitement about my own stuff. Yeah, and then I've kind of wanted to. Yeah, I've been enjoying the idea of coming downstairs and painting.
That's where it starts.
Without actually coming downstairs and painting, where before I haven't been thinking about painting at all. And so that's kind of the stage I'm in now. I know we talk about motorcycles every week now on the show because that's kind of like a hobby that Rusty and I both like that I've been getting into recently. But I've been working on my motorcycle, putting accessories on and doing stuff every weekend a little bit when I normally paint, and just getting ready for the season. But I think I'm at a point now where I'm starting to see the appeal of being in the hobby space, and I do need to do a big cleanup of my space and probably enjoy it more if I do that. But yeah, that's kind of where I am with that. And it's just funny, the psychology of motivation. It's like we could sit here and talk about it to death instead of just coming and painting. But but it's but there is this psychology, but for better or for worse, around it.
Well, and I think everybody's different too on what works. What motivates you. And learning what that is. Then I know for me it's weird. Sometimes I'm not as motivated, but if I sit and watch I think I've said it before, but it's 100% for me. If I watch a couple of YouTube videos of some channels that I particularly know and like, you know, and they're enthused about what they're doing. And, you know, it's not like their videos are like majorly high presentation, but they're really excited. They're really into it. And they've been working on this project for a while. That just, for me, it just gets me like, okay, I'm going down in the basement. I want to get going on my, you know, it's not even like, well, now I want to do their project. It might be something totally unrelated or something I would never buy, but their passion and their excitement and their, you know, and their progress, that's sucks me right in. And then I go down and I'm like, oh, I'm all on fire now. It's weird. Just somebody else. It's contagious, I guess.
No, that's good. I mean, I think you got to use motivation wherever you can get it, whatever. Like, I think to some degree, everybody's a little bit different, probably.
Definitely. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'd say there's either one of you remember Blue Table painting?
Yeah,
I do not.
He would always doing update, always pushing stuff, update. You know, he would put out a video a day or something, maybe sometimes two. And he was almost like a salesman. Well, he was selling, you know, the fun of playing and painting, but it was always interesting is that he was the one guy that made me buy a lot of different games. Because you just watch it, it's like, man, that looks like so much fun.
So much fun.
Yeah, it's like sure. I got to check this out.
And that makes a lot of sense.
And it's like you went down the rabbit hole too many times, you know.
Well, that's what I first got into bolt action was there's one video in particular, and I've gone back and watched it a few times, and it was just the presentation, the way they bantered with each other, the way they the terrain, the minute, everything was just perfect. That just hit a note with me that made me just be like, wow, now that I am doing that. And that was the first game when I got back into miniature painting, and that got me enthused enough to actually do it, and painted a whole army and went to a tournament first time ever. And so but I was looking for a game to get into. It wasn't like, wow, I got distracted. I was looking for something.
Yeah, it's trying to fill a void that it's missing, you know. That's, I think, a lot of it.
Yeah.
Why? And it's like when you think about it, they always say, someone say, hey, check out this one game or something. It's just free. Go ahead and download it. And it's like, if you got the miniatures, use your own miniatures type of thing. But then they will say, all right, if you play this game, you enjoy it. It's like they got their own miniature line, etc., whatever. And it's like, and the next thing you know, it's like you may end up buying some of those miniatures. And it's happen. Like, it's happened. There was a few. I can't guess which one of those miniatures are sitting over here on the wall. Well, I ended up buying some miniature just the fact that I wanted to have something that was similar to what they were playing with. Just to try out the game, and I ended up buying the miniatures and never did play the game. So mostly because you'd always, it's the old adage was, we had some individual that was in our group that would always, it's like, you'd only play what he wanted to play. So you try to get the excitement going and say, hey, I want to go play this. I'm going to try it out. You want to go play it? Not really. I'm not interested.
Did his name start with an R and end with a Y? There's some guy in our group.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, you always hear that too, like people that are in clubs and stuff, and you know, you kind of got to go with the flow. You know, or a gaming group be the same difference, or a gaming buddy, even if you only had one guy or gal or whatever.
Yeah, you always have individuals in your group that always seem to dictate what you're going to play.
Well, you have certain people that have more dominant personalities.
Yeah.
Or just are less flexible, maybe. It might be it.
I think less flexible.
True. You know, because I'll play anything once at least, and maybe twice. You know, if you have an open mind, it's probably fine. Not saying I would invest a bunch of money or buy a bunch of miniatures, but you know.
One of my gaming friends and I do is we actually we like to just play 3 games of something and then just move on. And to just keep coming back to the ones we really like, but just play 3. Like one game that's sort of like getting used to it again. The second game, we pretty much have it. A third is like, this is fun. Last time. And then we'll go to the next one. And those are for games that we play regularly.
Mm-hmm.
So you just kind of make a rotation through your games.
Yep.
So you're constantly playing them.
Yep, pretty much. Looks like for comments here, Clark, consider me pumped because he's in his garage. So Brad says, no, I still see a lot of channels that don't put anything up and they're still on YouTube. Progress is great. I think that's Rusty there.
Yeah.
Mel's, I've been working on Battletech, stripping old ugly plastic mix and
oh my god, those things are ugly.
Chris is on board. I went down a deep hole hobby wise. What is that? Mel says a rabbit hole, and he says, I wish I would say it is too big to be a rabbit hole.
It's called a Grand Canyon.
I'm hunting for rabbit.
Valley, quiet. Wabbits. Wow.
YouTube's got me into trouble.
I'm in trouble.
I remember Blue Table Painting. He does still put out videos.
Sean Gately, yeah.
Sean ET is still around. Let's laugh.
Yeah, it's like I'm friends with him on Instagram. He's always commenting a lot of times on my stuff on Instagram. He sees me.
That doesn't ring a bell for me. That's funny. Huh.
Yeah, he was one of the bigger channels way back in the day.
Yeah, it's probably before my time when I got watching YouTube.
Yeah.
Clark says, I can't say that a free rule set has gotten me into buying minis. The folks I play games with do get me into games, though. And we'll actually talk about that subject in a moment. I'm sorry, I'm just putting my painting glasses on while we and stuff while we're getting ready to jump into the stuff. I feel like I just jumped into like a fighter pilot plane.
I was going to say,
he's a drone pilot.
Here I go. We're heading in.
Scramble.
Stay on target. Stay on target.
Actually, it's like, I just watched Flash Gordon. Do you remember those guys that had the things like this in Flash Gordon, like except they had colors on there?
Oh, you could have been in that movie.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I missed my chance.
Then there was the old Dune movie where they had the green thing on their face.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Well, so Rusty, do you want to lead this one? Because I think you kind of found it.
Well, yeah, it's like we've kind of already alluded into it, the topic of, there's plenty of companies out there that will have a rule set that's just up on there, and they may have, you can download a quick download of some free type of rules, and they'll have their own miniature line, but like One Page Rules is another one that's pretty popular where you can just download everything.
Oh yeah. Yep.
And play with it. For a long period of time, we had Ninth Age. They had their own rule set that you could download it.
Yeah.
And they started selling their own miniatures to go with them. And then let's see what else we have out there. Well, for a while, you could download certain rules. Osprey every once in a while would have stuff out. You had Spartan Games did it. They started just going where you could download everything for the game, and they just sold you the miniatures.
Oh, sure. Forgot about that.
Yeah. So there's plenty of examples out there where companies will, they'll put together a rule set, but the whole goal is to get you to start playing a game, and then they'll sell you the miniatures.
Uh-huh.
And it's kind of like it's free crack. Hey kid, come over. Over here. I got some good plastic over here. All you got to do is read these rules, and you can get this plastic, man.
Well, it gives them visibility too. If it's not a rule, if it's not something that, like, if you need like a pink elephant with a rainbow tail, then like you have to buy it from that company. But if it's something where, like it's a little bit more similar to another genre, then you could potentially use another one, I guess. But at the same time, it's always given them visibility. If you need to go there to even look at the rules, then you need to start looking at their imagery, right?
Yeah.
And But I didn't realize that's kind of the topic in the sense that I thought you were talking about like the Dragon Rampants, where it's like they're not free rules, I guess, but like I guess it's different. Like that's in this case, they're basically to draw to get you to see their wares.
Yes.
Well, yeah, and because especially now, I think when there's so many rule sets out there, even if it's a really amazing set, but if it's free, there are a lot of people that'll be like, well, yeah, when I'm out, I'll take my time to look at it, but they maybe wouldn't plunk down even if it was only $20. They might not do that,
Yeah,
that makes sense.
These days, the free rules that are getting easier and easier to come by.
Yeah,
and it's the ability to create a set of rules just for the sole purpose to sell your miniature lines.
True.
Well, that was always the case. It's just that they weren't free before.
Yeah.
Well, that's GW's whole goal.
Sell the miniatures.
It's all about selling miniatures. The rules are just to make you buy the miniatures. Yeah. I've never been tempted like that, Rusty. I can't say that I have. But as I thought about that question, not to change the direction, but just the thought I had was, I looked at the other way, like if you could somehow get free miniatures or even sample miniatures or a sprue, like look at what Wargamers Illustrated does with Warlord Games. I know, you get to take a look at it and see what you think. And this made me think of it because I'd gotten these AWI miniatures for free on that YouTube giveaway. And I'd never painted prairie miniatures, and I would maybe have bought some of those anyway. But the Metal Brigade Games ones, I don't know that I ever would have ordered any. But now I'm actually on their website kind of putting a small order together because there wasn't enough miniatures included in what he sent me to make a 24-man regiment of militia. And so I need to buy like 12 more miniatures, 2 packs to flush out that. And so, because now I see them and I can see how they scale with what I have and I can see the quality of them. Then all of a sudden it's like, oh, see, I never probably ever would have bought any, but now it looks like I'm going to at least order a few. And then I may down the road just keep, when I need some cavalry, I might get it from them instead of Prairie. So that's another way to kind of suck you in, right?
Do you feel taken advantage of, Dan? In retrospect,
no. But it's interesting because I remember when they released Paul Hicks does their AWI sculpting, and I remember when they've done several Kickstarters because I would hear about that in the Facebook groups because I have some AWI Civil War type Facebook groups, Black Powder. And they would pop up on there. And I remember peeking at it thinking, oh, that looks really cool. But, I don't know. And, and I don't need more miniatures. And I don't know what they're going to be like. And are they going to be, because even if they're all 28 millimeter, both of you guys know you put it next to each other. It's like, well, that doesn't really work. I mean, they're way finer or they're way, something's just the style. They're less chunky or whatever. Or more cartoonish.
They're true 25s versus
or what? Or heroic or whatever. And so I'm always
heroic 32.
I'm always hesitant to I don't want to buy a few just to see what I think, and so then I just don't do it. But I got to see what they were like, and I'm thinking I like them, and they do match really. They said, well, they're meant to match with the Perrys. Well, do they or don't they? Well, so. But so I'll throw some cash that way, and it got me in their door, I guess, So it's the same kind of idea though, but which is why Wargamers Illustrated, I think, gives away all those sprues, which people seem to just love that, and why not? I don't, I'm sure they sell enough to at least break even on that deal, probably way more,
Yeah, there's been a few times where I've got an illustrated version and got whatever sprue that was in there, and and it's like, okay, it's just one sprue. You get one figure, maybe 2 out of that sprue.
Yep.
And you're like, how is that going to fit into the rest of these armies I have?
Yeah, that's the problem. But like, I know they've been including a lot of the, they've been releasing the Napoleonic, and then they did American Civil War, and now they're doing the Pike and Shot English Civil War in the Epic.
Yeah.
And so they've been including sprues of that, and I think it's allowing people to see, because it's a whole new kind of concept on how they're doing that. And it's gotten a lot of people to see them and think, either they're not interested or they're, wow, yeah, I'm in on that, So, but yeah, it's pretty amazing, because nowadays you don't get anything free with a, it used to be a box of cereal, man. You get all kinds of cool stuff. Remember that? Toys,
Cracker Jacks,
cars. Cracker Jacks had some stuff, but I remember in the cereal, those collectible, they get fridge magnets. You'd get little cars that you could put air in them and they'd blow across the floor. I mean, it was. Yeah. We would want that cereal for that toy.
Yeah.
And you're always fighting to see who's the first one to open up the box, and then it's like, I'm going to dump everything out.
I remember just digging down to the bottom. It'd always be at the bottom, it's subtle.
And it's like I had an enterprising brother that would open the box from the bottom.
Oh, I never thought of that.
Yeah.
You can't close it then. Mom would have found out.
Yes.
You been digging? Yep.
You'd open up the bottom, dig it out. So you'd always be the first one to get the
toy surprise.
Well, the box of cereal, when you got 5 brothers, a box of cereal only lasted one setting type of thing.
Yeah. Well, that's the way I was. I lived on cereal.
How about you, Rusty? What is your take on the topic?
Well, there's been many times where I don't mind the concept of having a free set of rules just to play around with to see. Doesn't necessarily mean that I might not, buy anything. When you have a large collection of miniatures to choose from, but
right.
Now, if you have a set of rules that are, let's say, ship rules, where you have to buy, warships or something of that nature, or you don't have, let's say, 28 mil sci-fi troops or whatever it may be to go with them, then obviously you have to. If you really like the rules, then you might have to go out and start hunting. And in their case, they're like, hey, you don't have to hunt very far, because all you have to do is just go to our store and buy them there, type of deal.
But do you think that works? Because you can proxy anything, or it's even worse now with 3D printing. But
yeah, it works to a certain extent in that you get some individuals will not play anything but, it's like, oh, if it's not from that company, then it's not official. You get that mentality with some people. But
yeah, that's true.
I actually think if we kind of put the big companies aside for a moment, I think there's a lot of the small casting companies that cast a line of miniatures that will put together like a fairly low budget document, at least for the last 5 years or whatever. I noticed that, like, kind of like a lower budget production of like a rule set that goes along with their miniatures.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I think you see that a lot. Like, don't you guys think so?
Yes, I think what it is that it's kind of like the introduction or basic rules that they're providing you.
Yeah.
And if you want to play more advanced rules, then obviously you got to have the full rule book or something of that nature.
Yeah, I think some are actually. I know some cases where they're literally doing it just for the love of the hobby. It's a rule set that they designed, that they enjoyed to play, a game the way they want to play it. I know another guy that's doing it right now, and actually several guys, and they're just releasing it to share it.
But they also selling
not
miniatures?
A company. What?
They're selling miniatures?
No, these are not companies, but
I'm talking about small companies that do make miniatures, but have like kind of like a rule set that you can just get on their site that you can use their miniatures with.
Yeah, like that. What is it? Something of the Elf King. That's one that comes to mind. That you need
Is that
their
one
kind of.
I don't think that's free though.
No, but that's what I'm going to say. I don't know of any that are free like that. I know some.
I
because how does it lock you into buying their miniature though? That's
I don't think it does. I mean, like I don't think it does. Like,
so why does that help?
Why? It helps just because it gives you a way to play with their miniatures if you don't have one.
Yeah.
Like, like if you like the miniature and you're trying to figure out what would I do with it, you might say, "Oh, I like these miniatures. Maybe I'll try this out." It comes, with it.
Okay, so you're saying the miniatures come first and then the free rules. I was thinking the free rules attract you, and then it makes you think you want the miniatures.
Yeah, but I actually think in some places a small miniature company actually does it the other way, where they actually have a lower budget. And I hate to call it that, but it is what it is.
Yeah,
I mean, like,
it is.
It's basically, there's like no pictures or, at
all.
Lower it's
production.
Just like, low production kind of document that they have that you can download and do a game with. And I've seen this in both historical and fantasy, I believe.
I could see that. Oh, go ahead.
No, that's all. That's kind of, it's just interesting because I think it relates to the topic a little bit.
Well, I agree.
A good example is like it's been Mantic Games. They will have a very basic, the basic rule set. It'll be like you can download it online and then they have their miniature lines that you can just go play if you want to.
Yeah, and they're right, and they're definitely, that's a prime example of them trying to bring you into their miniatures. Right.
Well, that's how they released Age of Sigmar too. Initially.
Yeah, Age of Sigmar was free.
You're right.
It was free. Yeah, they had free rules.
Then later you bought them, but you could get more expanded versions in the army. What did they call the book? The tome that you bought.
Had the general.
That general's handbook. That's right, and that had the rules, which is on like 4 pages or something, but then the rest of it was other stuff.
Well, and I can see what you're saying too, like especially if it's a company, which I do know of some examples of that. I'm just trying to think that I don't know that their rules are free. Maybe they are, but where they have they've kind of made up their own world. Where you could proxy stuff, but if you really want to delve into it, you really kind of need their miniatures, and so that would be a case where if the rules are free, and I do like the miniatures, that might jump you in there. But they are real niche type games, at least the ones I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
And cool miniatures, but very small companies or whatever, individuals.
And I brought up Mantic, or not Mantic, but Spartan Games. They basically it was a lot easier just to put the, instead of having to figure out how to print everything, was that you just download the game online and you just buy the miniatures.
Right.
So if you wanted to, you could proxy everything you wanted to and cut out paper, create your own paper ships and stuff and play the game and figure out if you want to or not. Right. And all of the ship rules and everything were all online.
Okay. Well, it's a good strategy. I mean, because you need something to bring people, to give it a shot,
Yeah. It's one way to get people interested without having them to fork out money. There's nothing worse than having and nowadays, a great example is that 800-pound gorilla game company that's over there across the pond, where $250 will get you an intro into the game, and you may not like it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I always found that the $200 mark is so common in almost anything you want to get into.
Yeah.
In this hobby.
Yeah, it's just getting
unless it's skirmish. Unless it's a little skirmish thing, like where you only need like 5 miniatures.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I prefer systems where they, you can buy where you can work your way into it, build your way slowly into it. A lot of the companies seem to want to release this big starter box, which is always a good buy if you pencil it out. It's usually, sometimes even Games Workshop stuff, their starter boxes are amazing, even really.
Yeah.
But it still comes down to, for me, it's not as big a deal now, of course, but when it used to be, I could kind of get the rules and a few starter things, and maybe not enough to play, obviously, but I don't need to buy it all today. I can't paint it all today. But now you buy this box of stuff that might take you a year to paint anyway, where you could, instead of spending 180 or $200 on that starter box, you can piecemeal it together a lot easier, especially for, younger people on a more fixed budget. But that
people with young families.
Yes.
I
remember those days, and it's like, well, tell my wife I was going to buy something for $200 or $300 or something, but she would said, do whatever you're doing. But I'm not throwing her shade, but it's basically it'd be easier, if you could spend $40 this month and 60 next month, or you know what I mean, or a couple months later.
I mean, when you need to
walk it,
be able to afford food and shelter. Those gaming needs, it's nice to be able to put a starter box on layaway, right? Or
so yeah, that's kind of
how many people know layaway nowadays. So
I barely even remember what that is.
I can't remember the last time I seen a layaway offered.
I saw it not so long ago, and I think it was on furniture though.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that might still exist with that.
Yeah. Actually, that's what it was. It was furniture. Of course, you can't buy a couch for less than like $4,000 now.
Well, yeah, it's like we got our stimulus check here, my wife and I, and it was like, okay, what are we gonna do with it? I don't know. Then we got another stimulus check each, and we're like, well, let's go buy some furniture.
Yeah.
So it's been 30 years since we bought furniture. Let's revamp this stuff.
Well, you were stimulating the economy. Nice work.
Yeah.
That was the point. Between that and paying bills. So, yeah.
So, maybe we'll take a look at the comments real quick here. 1/700th Naval Grand Canyon. I blame two guys on YouTube. 1/700th Naval Grand Canyon.
Oh, the Grand Canyon is the size of the rabbit hole.
Huh. And
that sounds bad.
Mantic does rules for free. Wow, we got away with not many comments there, guys. We must be really
hammered
enamored with what we're talking about here, with what we're laying down.
Or we put them all to sleep.
Falling asleep.
No, not that.
Yeah, because I remember, you can still get starter rules from them for free, right? Can't you? I think you Mantic? Still can. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not the full Kings of War rule book.
Yeah, I think it's just their basic set of rules.
Enough to let you push some stuff around the table and play.
Yeah. And that's pretty much what you're seeing a lot of times with a lot of companies. If they're putting something out there easy for you to get your fingers into it without breaking the bank.
Yeah, give it a try, right? It's just like a sale, You might buy something you wouldn't normally buy.
And it's not a bad concept overall. It seems to work fairly decent.
No, I agree. It's nothing wrong with it.
Well, I always think about it. It's like all I have to do is let's look up my wall of shame over here. Actually, what's on the wall here isn't a shame. This is all painted here. But
yeah, you've got a lot of painted stuff, Russ. And you have a lot of unpainted too, but you have a ton of painted stuff. So
yeah,
you can't feel too bad. You aren't just dreaming, you're doing.
Well, my pile of shame shrunk this week.
Did you sell something? Or you painted? I sold off some Space Marines, Epic Space Marines. Oh, really?
Yeah, I had. Well, they were the funky. What do you call it? Everything we used to. My favorite is the square-based ones, and these were those rectangular based ones that came out later on.
Armageddon.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what.
Rusty, you should have told me. I might have bought those off you.
He did you a favor, Palmer.
That's true.
So I got rid of them this week.
Did you get rid of them locally or on eBay? You mean?
eBayed them.
Yeah.
And I made some seabells. So
I might not have bought them for what you could get on eBay, though. That's the thing. I know that they're commanding all that stuff. Last time I checked, was commanding a significant price.
Yeah, that's what I saw too.
I think what they were really interested in was the Terminators that were in the set.
Well, that makes sense because Terminators are nasty, and an epic drop teleporting in, man.
Yeah, there was 10 stands of Terminators in it. So, so I looked at everything and it's like, okay, yeah. Looking at what things were going for market value, and it's like, okay, that looks like about $200 worth of stuff there. So, they're just taking up space. So I
made them go away. Yeah. Gotta know when to say when.
And I have a whole bunch of stuff. I took a whole bunch of stuff, epic stuff that I had that's just sitting around that I'll never play. And I put them up on eBay. So.
Yeah. I don't get tempted much by new stuff I look around too what I've got to paint, and I love all of it. I mean, it's not like I'll never paint that anymore. Or I'm not really into, because even like this AWI, I hadn't painted anything on it for how many years, but now I'm back into it, and I'm glad, I'm enjoying it, and I'm adding to the collection, making the armies bigger, and and I'm totally happy with that. It's easy. It seems like I get less tempted when I'm actually painting. If I get through a spell when I'm kind of busy and I'm not able to paint much, or I maybe even have a 2-week spell that I don't really paint at all, that's when I start getting tempted by stuff, because before I go to bed or something, I'll watch a couple YouTube videos or check some Facebook stuff, and there's some new Kickstarter, or there's some new miniatures, or somebody's having a sale or something, and I'm like, oh, I got to do that. But when I'm painting, I'm like, I don't need that. I'm having a blast. I'm going to go downstairs and paint, So it seems like it kind of tries to fill that happy place when I'm not able to paint. But if I can actually paint and or game, or even just hobby at all, just even straightening down in my hobby room, keeps me on the straight and narrow.
You know what I find? I find actually just going through and looking at my lit pile sometimes really helps me out, because I actually find that half the time I don't even remember what I have.
Yeah.
And I do like it too. It's all stuff I liked, right, when I got it.
Yep. Same.
Exactly.
Like I actually go ahead.
One of the reasons I got rid of some of the stuff is I was just looking at it, it's like how many sets of Space Marine I have, like for my epic stuff. I have, just ungodly amount.
A lifetime supply, more than
and it's painted stuff. It's like
what you sold was painted even.
Yeah.
Oh, duh. Yeah, I should have known, but holy crap.
So it's like the reason I didn't want it, because it's the wrong bases. It doesn't fit into my scheme of what I consider my armies the way I want them to be. So it's like, they just got to go.
They're just got to go. Yeah.
It's like, you ever look at something and it just doesn't jive with you, and it's like, and when you painted them years ago when you had them, it's like, this doesn't really fit my scheme of my entire army. They're out of place.
Yeah.
But I painted them because they came in the box set, and then you're just like, eventually they're like,
just to get it done. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, I didn't want to buy anything new, but I had stuff to paint. And it's like when you go through these phases, I'm really heavy into this game at the time, and everybody's playing it, so I'm just painting everything I have of it.
Yeah, I can see that.
But it just gets to a point where you just realize, these things will never see the light of day in a game.
Yeah.
I haven't been playing Saga as much as I love that game in a long time, but I was thinking about how I have the Skraelings. I bought them off a friend. And I have the Skraelings in a box. And there's just stuff that I have that I don't even look at, that I've had now, and that I fully like and intend to do at one point. And actually, I still have a lot of Test of Honor, and we are actually planning on playing that soon. And
oh, cool.
And yeah, like I do want to paint some more of that. I really enjoyed that stuff was fun.
You have enough painted to play a game?
I do believe I have enough painted to play like a really entry level skirmish game. Yeah. Cool. And so I do. And then I actually did kind of invest a fair bit into it. And so I actually have a nice size amount of stuff.
Nice.
I'll be honest, sometimes don't even know what I have. It's like, that's the scary thing. It's like, I thought I was thinking about buying a second force to play after the first force. I know I have a civilians box, but I'm trying to remember what I got at a certain point, whether I fed into the addiction of buying the second force before finishing the first, or whether that's what's scary is sometimes you don't remember the decisions you've made, like when you put stuff away a long time ago. And so no, I guess this box I have for here is the rules. I have the rules of Samurai Warband. I have the Ashigaru Scouts. I have all Ashigaru stuff, and I have the civilians box. So I guess I stuck with, for the most part. I was disciplined in the end. I guess that doesn't surprise me, because I have gotten pretty good over the years to try to temper things.
Rein yourself in a little, yeah.
Yeah.
To say a good example is that just tonight, digging through that one box, I just pulled it out. I haven't opened that box up since 21 or somewhere in there. It was like 2021 when we were painting all the stuff for
AWI. Yeah, because we were on a mission to get a game in on
that. And I was just painting galore.
You were painting hardcore.
And we played those games, and it just got set off to the side, I think. And
yeah, because that was kind of our goal, was to get the game in a couple games.
That could be your code name instead of the Punisher. It could be Painting Galore.
Galore.
I like that. Painting Galore instead of.
Yeah, that's good.
What is the name of that female actress from the old days? Jaja Gabor. Jaja.
Yeah, Jaja Gabor.
Jaja Gabor. You could be Painting Galore.
Yeah, no joke.
Okay, I'm starting to get silly here. The so I haven't been sipping this whiskey as much as you might think. So Clark says more accessibility is always good, and if a company is financially able to offer free rules in the hopes that folks will buy minis, then that's good.
Agreed.
You really got to be a Musty Wargamer to know that, like, Jaja Gabor. Like, who knows that name these days?
That's a couple weeks back. Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Hello, darlings. It's like Green Acres.
Yeah.
Green Acres is a place for me.
So
wide open spaces is for me.
Brad says there's a lot of free war games out there. And it looks like, sorry, Mel, this might be from a bit ago. It's 8:58. He said this, but he says it looks like it's bedtime. He might have headed off.
Shoot. Okay.
Yeah.
Or that's in reference to putting him to sleep.
Oh, maybe. I don't know which one would be worse in that case.
Yeah.
Like, which is worse? Are we putting him to sleep with our talk, or did he left?
One thing I was going to mention about where we talked about the free rule sets. I was thinking about this too earlier and I forgot, but one of the things for me, which this is so bad, but nothing for me beats a really premium like rule book, hardback, glossy pages, tons of eye candy.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I'll even pass over some rules because it's like, well, just the production's lower, and it's funny. I would be tempted on some games to even buy the deluxe rule book, the leather bound one, if it was a specific game that I was enthused by, because it just, I love to have the hard. I don't have a single PDF rule set. It's not convenient for me. I like to handle the book. It's probably my age bracket as much as anything, but and I like to have it sitting on the shelf. I like to see it and feel it and find things. When you're looking through it, it's easier to find your page. I don't know.
That tactile feel of flipping through a book.
Oh, and the smell. I mean, I'm not even kidding, right? It's like, it's a thing. And so for me, it might even be the best game in the world. And I'm not saying I wouldn't give it a chance, but it's like I just love. There's certain rule books of games that I don't know if I'll ever play or not, but just I even get the book out just randomly and just page through it and read sections. I just enjoy that. So I don't know. That's weird though. Wow.
That your dog?
That's not an Irish wolfhound, but
Jesus Lord. That's a sad.
So he likes to hang out because he hears me talking outside of this room. I never know when he's coming or not, but that's my wife calling on her way back from work, not knowing that the show's going on tonight or whatever.
That's your wife's ringtone, huh? That's
yeah, that's right, exactly. And he hates the phone,
yeah,
absolutely hates the phone
when it rings. You mean?
And, yeah, and he howls howls. He's a schnauzer, standard schnauzer. So he's not a little schnauzer. He's not a giant either, but he's a standard. But he's still decent size. Yeah. And he just freaks.
That's funny
when that happens. And so
I think I froze up for a second.
So you guys just look up like, what's going on?
Jeez, I was like, sound like somebody's kid, and then I was like, we don't have kids that age.
Mark, I was thinking it was a husky or Malamute that was like howling.
No, that's a schnauzer.
Schnauzer? Wow.
Yep. Brad says, so many games out there. I need to finish my second Army of Saga, but I have the 15mm bug to finish it. Striker says, Mel says, nope, still here. Brad says, yes, that is what gets me. I like the full color book. I like handling a book because I was in the printing industry. Totally get that.
Oh, God, yeah. Totally get it. Yeah.
Clark says, it's hard to beat a physical rule book. I wish more companies would do spiral bound because you can lay them flat on the table without taking less space up. It's true. Books are good.
That is true.
Own physical media. Well, not to change the subject on physical media, but I'm all about that when it comes to music too. I like either a CD or records, and I don't like to stream. I don't like to digital when I buy music.
Well, that's funny because go ahead, Rusty.
I was shocked. I was at Walmart and picking up some stuff and walking by the entertainment area over there with all the TVs and stuff, and they had physical records on the shelf. And I was like, wow, Walmart is back to putting physical records on their shelves.
Wow.
Well, they're a little late because the revolution of vinyl coming back is not new, and they're probably just waking up to it.
Yeah.
You were going to say something, Dan, about it?
Oh, yeah. I was just going to say it's funny because just a couple weeks ago, I was talking to my youngest daughter. She's 24. And we were talking about owning DVDs, movies is what we were talking about in particular. And she's like, I think she has 5. And she says, I don't want to own them. I can stream it. I don't have to. See, she's more of, stereotypical younger person where they're like, I don't need to own stuff. I just want access to it. And she's like, I don't have to have the material thing. I can stream it when I want. And I said, yeah, but you can't stream it when you want. Because we were trying to watch Bridges of Madison County before we went and saw the bridges, and it's like there was nowhere you could stream it for free. You can pay $3.99 somewhere and whatever. And I was like, that's why I want the actual. And she's like, well, I'm never like that. I don't need to watch it now. I'll watch it whenever. Or I'll watch something else. And I'm like, you know what? You're probably a better person than me because I have to have the thing, and that's, I don't know if that's good but it's interesting because I like to have the books. I want the magazine. I want the movie, the music. I'm not as much just because I tend to only like handfuls of songs from different artists. So having the album for me isn't necessarily, there's a few albums that are just classic to me. But
movies and music, I like to have the physical media, and I think
you do.
Part of it is, all right, I'm not gonna die on the quality argument, but it is true that the physical media is a better quality than the digital, and whether or not you can hear it and whether or not it's really relevant for most people in the end, won't argue that. And I think, you
have
to
their own there.
Really be discerning, like, to hear the differences and have to have the equipment and stuff. And that's really not necessarily it for me. I don't like, I've heard of people with like Apple and other places where you buy it and then like you get a different phone and then like you can't get it again and you have to buy it again and that stuff. And like that's just would drive me ballistic. But then I like it in front of me. I'm just of that generation where I like to have it in my hands.
Me too. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, and I own it.
The only way you could do it was have it physically in hand.
Nobody can take it away from me, really. I mean, like other than stealing it, if you have it in your hands. And so
that's what I told her. I said, what happens if Netflix goes away, or like we do all of our streaming on, what is it? Our music, the green circle. What is that?
Why can't I don't know. I don't even know.
Green circle.
It's what it looks like on your phone. Oh my gosh. Now I have to look because this is just the kids, Spotify.
Okay. I've heard of them. Yeah.
I've heard of Spotify. My daughter does Spotify. But
see, my kids do Spotify and then I can share their account for free.
But what if you paying for the songs in or what? Like
no, you pay for so much a month, just like Netflix, and you have access to every song in the world and put it on your playlists and make playlists.
But
and then
you don't own it then.
You don't own it. No, that's the thing. And then, but on the nice side though, like every time you play one of their artist songs, and I think you only have to get like 15 seconds into it, even they get paid X amount for every play.
Yeah, okay.
So I mean, it's not like you're pirating music, but
right.
But yes, you don't own it, and if they went down, like my whole music playlist would be like gone, right? So I don't like that. I'm not in love with that.
So in our case, it's like we have a large collection of music that we bought through Apple.
Sure.
iTunes.
Yeah.
My kids were into iTunes and they had the iPods and stuff like that. So we bought all kinds of music for them back in the day.
Yep.
And I still got the iTunes accounts. So I have all kinds of music that's on there. But I still will buy a CD and then I'll download it to my iTunes account so I can just listen to it anytime.
Right. But you still have the CD.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I like to just go onto either YouTube or Spotify and just start searching for artists and listening to songs, and then in your suggested listening, it'll start homing you in on, that type of song or that era, and then I've discovered lots of bands that way.
I do that with YouTube.
So I have a lot of just people I've never heard of, and I have 2 songs that I love of theirs, and that's it. BattleTech, I'll say it. Rusty wouldn't say it. I said it. Is that what you're working on right now?
Yeah, I just put some red on these guys.
Nice. You been playing any BattleTech, Rusty, or no?
We played a couple weeks ago.
Okay.
Oh.
Do you play in Des Moines at the game shop, or do you go over to Iowa City?
We don't play very often at the game stores because most people want to just play Alpha Strike, but we play here at my table right here.
Okay, you do. I didn't know you played at your place.
Yeah, we do a campaign. We actually have a physical campaign that we do.
Oh, sweet.
And we just advance it. We'll do a game or it's like set up on planetary campaign. We hit the planet, invade. Right now, it's still these fourth succession war going on.
Okay.
And so you go and hit the planet, and basically it's a planetary invasion. And each mission you do is a continuation of the war.
Okay.
And we get the unit gets beat up and shot to hell, and eventually, and mechs are constantly rotated in and out of what's mission capable. And
so, is this a campaign system that you guys developed, or is that part of BattleTech?
It's part of BattleTech. It's in the rule books.
Oh, okay.
You have contracts you can do, and you get salvage and you get paid. So Yeah, it's
How long do you keep one going?
the current campaign. The one in Iowa City has been going on for about 6 years now.
Wow.
And we started off in 3025, and it's now 3067, I think, 68, somewhere in there.
You ever think about a peace treaty, or is that off the table?
The houses, we play as mercenaries.
Okay.
And the houses themselves are always fighting each other.
Okay.
It's kind of like a Cold War. Let's put it that way.
Okay. Never goes away though.
Yeah, so it doesn't go away. The houses are always secretly paying mercs to go do this or that, raid someone else's backdoor property and kick the door in for them. And it's like you pay the mercs to do it for you, and it's like, oh, deniability type of thing.
So is it set up well enough that, like, if somebody's kind of getting on the ropes, that they're still in it? You know, 'cause sometimes campaigns, it seems like you can't come back from that, and then you're just kind of getting thrashed.
Yeah, it's up to the players, you know, if they want to
how they manage it.
Yeah. Huh. If you try to play it's your unit, so you don't want it to get
annihilated.
So if things are going south for you, you just like, oh, I'm out of here, I'm leaving, you know.
Yeah, kind of like in Chain of Command when they play. I've watched Tabletop CP will do some campaigns. Yeah, and sometimes it almost doesn't make a great game to watch because they're playing the long game. You know, where a lot of times you play a one-off, you go, you know, till everybody's just last man standing type thing. But you got to know when to cut your losses in a campaign.
But usually there's a way to, at a very minimum, you could start over, even if it means like you're not as good as the folks that are doing well in it. You're just not actually like you're not, you know, like worse than you would be at the beginning. Like, you know, you got something to start with or whatever. But would that be normally the case, Rusty, where you could like just kind of start over like a new player coming in?
Yeah, we have like, let's say example, the Des Moines campaign we got going on. We played for a good almost 2 years before Mel joined in and started, you know, his unit. So he's like a subcontracted merc, part of our unit.
No way. Huh.
Yeah. So they can do their own campaigns with themselves and then come back and join us, that type of thing. You don't always have to be there to be fighting it out. And we try to fight the game like you would. You don't do total annihilation on both sides, because unless you're a fanatical lunatic, that you're not going to destroy all of your equipment just to try to achieve a victory. It just doesn't happen.
There's somebody else in the world that's doing that right now.
Yeah, and then what are all the other houses doing? They're feeding materials into these other house that's fighting this other big house.
Crazy, huh?
Yeah, so it is true to life. You know, it's
like
you're fighting a proxy war. That's basically what it is. And we're the proxies are using us, you know, to fight the war.
But anyway, it sounds like it's a good campaign system, though.
Yeah.
That allows, you know, whether you tweak it some yourself or not, but it's solid enough that you guys are able to keep it going that long.
And you can start, let's say a unit could start in year 2750, all right? And you can fight all the way up to, as a unit, if you can keep your unit together without being annihilated, to 3150.
So does new technology unlock when you go ahead in time like that, or what?
Yeah. Currently, we have low-tech equipment in our current campaign that we have.
Okay.
Don't have access to any high advanced stuff because that hasn't been... Well, in Battletech, the universe, they had advanced equipment. And then they had a big civil war. There we got... And things went south pretty quickly. The house, the Star League, they won the war, and then they decided that this is enough's enough, and they took their toys and left.
Okay.
Left the inner sphere, and all the houses that were left fought it out, and they're still fighting it out. And the guys that left with their cool little toys have come back in 3050.
Okay.
They left in 2700s, and then they come back in the 3050.
Where'd they go?
Outside of the
the inner sphere.
Yeah, outside known space, and created their own little empire.
Okay.
And then they come back and with higher tech equipment than what's in the inner sphere, because they never degraded themselves in constant warfare.
Yeah. That's the way it goes. Huh. Interesting.
Well, returning back to this universe, what I would say. Yes, what about our next topic?
About motivation when it comes to
YouTube, right?
Yeah.
Making YouTube videos.
Yeah.
Dan, this is kind of your topic in some ways, right? Didn't you? We're talking to Rusty about it or something like that, and then.
Well, yeah, I don't know if this is my topic, but I know, last show, even I remember bringing it up, because it, like I'd said earlier when we first started tonight, that it got me thinking. The last year, I was like, why am I not doing a video? Because for, I don't know, was it 2.5 or 3 years or something? I was doing a video a month, pretty much regardless all year. And, nothing, I don't do fancy videos. There's not high production or anything, but I was doing it. And my painting hadn't slowed down at all. I was painting just as much this last year as ever. And maybe even more consistently, but anyway, point being, nothing had changed on my hobby side. I was playing about the same amount of games, a few less, but and painting about the same. And I kept thinking, why? Because I'm like, I got to put a video up sometime. Because somebody would comment on a video, and I'm like, or they'd say, hey, I haven't seen a video. I wonder if you're still working on this. And I'm like, yeah, I'm still painting, but I just haven't put videos up. And I'm like, why don't I do it? And so, the kind of the motivation. And it's interesting because I couldn't really figure it out. I kept thinking, well, I kept telling myself, well, a lot of it was when I came, like everybody else, I'm busy, got a lot of stuff going on. And my happy place was when I come down at night after my wife goes to bed and I come down and paint. Sometimes it's just a half hour, sometimes it's like an hour or whatever. And like, not that it takes me a long time to set up for the video, but I do have to move the lamp and set up a place where I set my iPad to video, and then it takes forever for it to upload because it's a 1,000-year-old iPad, and it was just kind of, I don't know, I just kind of get turned off by it. And then the other thing I actually noticed was there was a few things I painted that I never made a YouTube video of, and then this last year I was painting bolt action, and literally almost exclusively all year. And I got thinking of those two things, and I'm like, why didn't I put videos up of those one things? Well, I kind of came down to, I felt like, and it's not like I'm monetized or anybody is like, oh, I can't wait, Dan puts a video out like next Wednesday or something. But I kept thinking, well, nobody wants to see this. What they really want to see and what they keep asking for and what gets the most views was my Bretonian stuff. And they aren't going to want to watch the bolt action. And then I did some stuff for Shadows of Brimstone, which is a dungeon crawl game. I've painted several hundred miniatures for that through the past 5 years, but I think I've made one video of that.
Yeah, I don't remember you seeing that.
Yeah, I did one video way back. It was just kind of a showcase, and it wasn't even the best lighting. It was real early on. And I started to notice when I was getting done with my bolt action, I was thinking, well, I should get back to my Bretonians. And I started to think, well, partly because I thought that's what people wanted to see. And I'm like, wait a minute. A, nobody is losing any sleep over it. And B, the whole point of my channel was the whole reason I started was to share what I do with other people, because people, I would interact on people's channels. They're like, I'd say, oh, I'm working on the same thing, or I just made something that makes me think of what you just did, and they're like, oh, I'd love to see it. Well, how do you share it? And so I just did it for that reason, so I could share what I was doing with people. And I kept thinking on YouTube, when I watched other people's videos, like I'd said earlier, I get really inspired a lot of times. And so I thought, well, not that what I do is, I'm proud of what I do, but by far, there's way better painters and hobbyers and have bigger collections, and and that's fine. I don't mind that. But I always think, why would anybody get inspired by what I do? But then I'm like, well, you know what? Sometimes it isn't. It might just be the particular thing that you did, or just the paint scheme, or even just a conversion you did, or kind of a heads up on a company, of a terrain piece that I painted, that might just be like, oh man, that's what I've always been looking for. If somebody had just said that, it doesn't even have to be high production quality to share that kind of information, and I know some people were enjoying what I was doing, but I kind of found, I got back to like, you know what, I'm doing it for me is why I do it, and to share with the people. And it kind of felt like I dropped off of the entire YouTube planet, because I wasn't, it creates interaction. When you post a video, people comment, and then you kind of get going back and forth on things. And I kind of missed that, I think. And I decided I don't, I need to do it for me. That's why I do it. But it's funny, once you get into social media, it's like the likes and then how many subscribers. It kind of does suck you in, even though I really don't care, but evidently a tiny bit of me does.
Yeah.
I'd just like to point back to a previous comment you made where you get motivated by watching someone else do something, and it excites you to go down and paint.
Yes.
What are you, their motivation? They see what you're doing, and it gets them motivated too.
Yeah, and that's what I kept thinking, and that's the other reason. Those were the two reasons I started the channel. One was to be able to interact and share what I do, because I don't have a club. I don't have, I'm kind of, other than my buddy Mark, which he's got a lot going on.
Island by yourself.
Yeah, I'm kind of by myself, and Rusty and I, we try to get together a couple times a year, and that's it. So I don't really have anybody to share it with, and so that was one reason. And two was because I thought I've gotten so much joy and inspiration from watching other people's channels and interacting with them. Yeah, like you said, Rusty, not that what I do is amazing, but if anything I can share is somewhat inspirational to somebody else, then I'm glad to give back a little bit, because I get so much from it, and it's free. I don't subscribe to YouTube. I don't pay a fee. I don't, I'm just freeloading off of it, and throw my stuff out there. It's not, nobody's paying to watch it. They can watch it for free if they enjoy it. And if they don't, they don't. And, if 10 people watched my video, that's 10 people that, wanted to see it. So, I guess you get caught up in the people that are everybody's always talking about, trying to build their channel, and, be sure to like and smash that like button and subscribe and share. And that's fine. And I'm not knocking that if that's what people enjoy, that, or even maybe want to make it a small even business, and that's totally fine. But that wasn't what I was trying to do, and I got to remember to stay on my path. What was my original intent? And once I realized that, I'm like, hey, okay. And so all of a sudden this week I got a wild hair, and I'm actually starting to get really busy with my work, but I wanted to put a video up, and I enjoyed it, and interacted with some people again. So yeah, so that was it for me, was to remember why I started doing it, I guess. And to not worry about feedback. I mean, just because this one video gets a bazillion views for whatever reason, and this one gets like, 100, that doesn't, so what? Right?
Yeah.
So what? But it's funny, you can get caught in that. And I understand how kids can really get, they always talk about the pitfalls of it for teens and preteens.
Yeah, they're trying to find validation through it. And
yes, and I think that's the word right there, Rusty. You nailed it. And I think that's what I was trying to do. I felt like I didn't really, I'm not a high enough quality of a painter I mean, it's not bad. I'm not saying, I mean, I'm proud of it, but it's not like it's Golden Demon award winning and people are just going to be like, holy crap, that's amazing. And so you just feel like if you're not being validated by having people like it or view it or, then it's just, then it doesn't matter what you're doing. And that's not true at all,
Exactly.
And so that was kind of been thinking about that a lot for the last months, trying to figure out why I wasn't. And once I figured it out, I was like good with it again. It's funny.
Good.
That being said, I did look at, which I don't follow at all, but because I hadn't really looked at my channel analytics or anything for a while. This morning I was 2 away from 1,000. I was at 998 subscribers. I was like, really? That's crazy. I don't know why. And you don't get that many views. A lot of people subscribe maybe because you subscribe to them, or they like a couple of your videos, but they, maybe they don't watch YouTube anymore. I mean, but they never cancel their subscription or unsubscribe.
But you're not doing the stuff that a lot of people do to actively.
No, I'm not trying to.
And like, I've never done this either, but like, other than, okay, I'll preface that. Other than actually just going on to like the Musket and Tomahawks Facebook page, in addition to the Musty Wargamers, knowing that when I put like those miniatures on the Musket and Tomahawks, it draws people like specifically for that. But it's also like a community that I could kind of enjoy like being on. Other than doing that, there are folks, and again, I'm not putting people down for trying to be successful and knowing.
No, me neither at all.
But there are folks that will just go to like every page they can think of and share their video, right? Like on Facebook and on here and there. And then what that will do over time is like, if you're not doing that, you are going to see like big increases. At least I'm not saying this is someone that actually knows the YouTube scene now, like, cause I've been out of it, but there was a time when that would actually, increase your visibility. There was work you could do to really more effectively promote your channel. I've never really done that consistently. And I also have never really worried too much about putting content up that was popular versus unpopular. I knew that my French Indian War stuff was more popular than, let's say, my niche games that I like to put up. I knew that the superhero stuff that I did was actually more popular in general, like when I was doing it consistently than other things like the Marvel stuff. But in general, particularly like my Warhammer Fantasy, when I first started putting up, was not very popular at all, but that's kind of, I just did it anyway. Like, it's the opposite of yours, Dan. Like, I actually would have more popularity with the historical stuff. But I just did what I wanted to do. But I don't know, like, actually, I'm not really, I guess, answering the question, but the question is motivation. And I'm probably not a good person to talk about it.
Yeah, but I thought it was interesting though, because you used to post up pretty regular, and then you used to even do, what was it, like your Wednesday? You did what was it called?
Esoteric.
Yes, and I looked, actually, strangely, geekily, I looked forward to that. That was when I first started getting kind of into watching YouTube and finding people that I enjoyed listening to, and I looked forward to that every week. But it's funny because then, like, now you've got to where you post less and less.
Yeah. Almost none. Nothing. So, this is what I post.
I know, exactly. But which is totally cool and fine. But do you ever think about why that is, or is it just straightforward? It's like I'm doing other things. Or
with what you were talking. Oh, well, there's probably a couple. I mean, I think the number one thing is the obvious thing, and is that if anybody is like me, if I'm like anybody else, then what I tend to spend time on is the stuff that makes me happy. And besides the fact that I did like the validation and in more just like talking with other people about the hobby and seeing the comments and then being connected to people that way, because that's who I really did it for primarily. Anything to be more involved with what I was really enjoying at the time is like what I would want to spend time with, and doing. And when I'm struggling to do the hobby in general, like, then like it's going to immediately translate to not really feeling like I want to share because I don't have anything to share and I'm not really into it at the moment. Right. And so I think that goes hand in hand. Like my zeal, for hobbying is my zeal for making videos. But even if I was in a stage where I was kind of doing a nominal amount of painting compared to what I used to, and maybe not putting videos up, I think the other reason is that a lot of people don't really, it's like you alluded to before, a lot of people that don't put videos up regularly don't really appreciate how much time out of your day or your time it takes. Like to actually make the video, then go on to edit it, and then to like put it up on YouTube, and then to like go up and make a thumbnail for it. Cause I would usually do that.
It
and
takes
like
time.
It's a minimum of an hour for something small.
Yes.
You know, and so
yes,
an hour of my day now, you know, like when you have like kids that you want to spend time with, and like you're working, and like you've got other stuff going on and other hobbies and stuff, an hour of your time can be significant. And people don't always appreciate that. You know, they think it's nothing. And it's true that you can just like take a phone, you know, video and just snap it in there and not do any editing and just whatever. And, you know, like you could do that, I guess. And I have found that.
But even that takes time. I mean, you got to set up some sort of decent lighting. You have to have a little bit of clue of how you're going to say it and present it, so it's not just a complete ramble. And then upload it, and like you say, create the thumbnail and put a description, and you know, take 45 minutes minimum, even if you shot it from your phone, I think.
Yeah, and in all honesty, all I was going to finally say is, in all honesty, because I think it's Rusty's turn now. All I would say is too is that I have noticed that I've started to streamline and spend less time than I could on the video to save time. Like I have noticed that at times I would do that rather than putting extra effort to do cool things and to like do stuff. Like I would actually just do a quick, you know, just turn it on, turn it off as efficiently as possible to just put something up and go kind of old school for me, not like try to do a lot. Sorry, Rusty. You were going to say?
As you're talking about time constraints and everything, is that every week I put out the thoughts from an inner sphere, my battle.
Yeah, you do. You're like clockwork, buddy.
It takes about 2 hours worth of work. You got all the research that goes into looking at all the different mechs and everything that are variants of it, of that one mech. I have to go through and figure out what I'm looking at, if I'm going to say it correctly. Do that bit of research, and then I got to think about how I'm going to go about it. You know, talk about it. In some ways, you kind of script what you're going to go through in your head.
Yeah. And
then sometimes that's even mucked up, but
yes.
And you just got to go with an audible and hope that you're not tired or anything. There are times it's like, okay, I didn't do it this week, and I've got to do it the night before, and it could be at 1 o'clock in the morning when I'm finally taping the darn thing.
Yeah.
And I'm tired.
Yeah.
And people say, "Oh, you're yawning." It's like, gee, I'm tired, but I'm doing this for you guys.
Yeah. See, and you approach it a little different though, because you're pretty disciplined on it, and you stick with like that thoughts from the inner sphere, and you put a lot of time into it.
It's something I enjoy doing though. That's one thing it's part of my way of keeping my finger in the game, because I may not get a BattleTech game in every week, which I'd love to be able to do, but I can't. Because, well, one thing is that my son, his schedule changes all the time, and then his friends have different schedules, so they have to have the perfect storm where everybody's got the same schedule.
Everybody can get together.
Yeah, it's like they may be able to get together to do something, and it's like, no, I got an appointment that day, so I can't play.
So what would you say is your major driving factor for your YouTube channel? What is your motivation, bottom line, fundamentally?
My major motivation is there are days where, like you said, you don't want to do a video. And I totally get that. There's a lot of times it's just keeping in touch with a fan base that they take time out of their day to watch or listen to whatever. Most times it's listen to what I do. So I kind of it's like putting a show together. It's like it's a one
Right.
having a TV series type of thing.
So, well, yeah. See, that's where I was feeling like mine was starting, or at least my mindset was shifting to that. I mean, I don't have, I mean, you have way more subscribers and you're a lot more dedicated and more professional than what I do. But I was starting to get that mindset where I felt some obligation to do it and to do certain things. And that's where then I decided that wasn't the path I wanted to go down.
Yeah.
But that's part of what you enjoy though. So that's a whole different thing.
Yeah, it is my enjoyment I get enjoyment by doing the videos and then talking with people.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're taking time to make a comment on the video about something they do. Or, you know, there are times that I'll put in the video where I'll talk about a battle or something cool that happened during it. It's like, right. I have lots of memories, cool memories of games where going back 30 years where something cool happened.
Yeah.
That I could throw into it, you know, like little tidbits.
Right.
Which I, you know, sometimes I have to, I'll remember. And it's like in my head, when I'm scripting it in my head, I'm going to be talking about it. And then when I'm going on and then all of a sudden after done taping the video or like, oh crap, I forgot to mention that.
Yeah. Well, I even do that when I shoot my videos. I forget stuff I was going to mention, but
you know, I don't know. Like, you know, another thing too is there are times when I think back at my getting back into the hobby in 2012, 2011 is when I kind of got back into it. Mm-hmm. I really didn't do it at all significantly from when I was in high school until then. And
yeah,
there were some times when I can remember the joy that I had of like of doing things, like even whether it be my Warhammer with the Eldar when I first got back in, or like bolt action or Musket Tomahawks, like early stuff that I was doing at the time. And I can actually look back and really enjoy thinking about having done those videos and how happy I was doing them. Mm-hmm. And I guess just times change too, you know, and I don't know, sometimes maybe that'll come back with like some distance from it and then you kind of grow like you want to do it again.
Sometimes though, I mean, it'll never be the same. We talked about that, like even just nostalgia in games, you know, because you always think, well, man, we used to have so much fun doing that, or even like say watching an old movie or something, or doing something that you loved doing, or it was such a special thing, and it not that it couldn't be special again, but it won't be the same. That was kind of a time and space and time when that happened, when everything's so much different now. Even, I mean, we're all different people than we were when we were 23, 25. 30, 40.
Yeah.
You know, so that's what I always think too. It's like sometimes you're hesitant to go to those places and just let it be what it was, you know?
And our channels are a snapshot of what's going on in our own life every week and every month. Things change in our lives. It's like, Palmer, your life has totally changed from
that's true. Even
last year.
A year ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you always have to look at it that way, is that, oh, okay, I'm doing something different. I'm trying to make best. I'm keeping my channel alive by doing something on the channel. That's the whole thing, is that even if it's, there were times when I'm just putting out a video, maybe the only video I put out that week, other than my thoughts from Inner Sphere series, is an update, a channel update series.
Right.
It's like, yeah, I painted this unit. I'll just do an update and just show you what I'm up to. I'm alive here. I'm still here.
Right.
Yeah. You know, and you know, yeah. All I was going to say, interesting thing you said. Part of it is, I wonder. Like, I think for me, my channel was a little bit of an outlet at a certain time in my life. Right. Like, I feel like I actually had excess energy and than I do right now. Mm-hmm. And it was an enjoyable outlet where I did actually kind of express myself and put a lot of energy that I had even at the end of my workday with old jobs and things that I had. Whereas now I am different as far as age than when I first started, but then also I've taken on things in my professional life that consume all of my energy. And at this point, right. And then I've even pursued hobbies that recently that sort of allow me to be more alone to actually, and this hobby, you can get a lot of alone time. So it's not really that different in that way, but I've pursued hobbies to sort of like motorcycling to go on trips and things where I kind of can get away from people and just relax and like, get some peace, you know what I mean? Like, and things like that. And and so I think all of that stuff really matters, in how I choose to spend my time and how different stages I go through and stuff. I don't know. I don't think I'll ever stop this hobby, to be quite honest. I just think I'll go through phases and, stuff like that. But
yeah, because things always change. And when I said that, it'll never be like it was, but it'll just be different. I'm not even saying necessarily that it won't be the same, or it won't be fun, or even maybe it'll be even cooler in a different way,
Yeah. Well, and you're right. Like actually, there'll never be a point in my life that I'll look at like the old Dungeons and Dragons Red Book. Like I did when I was in 4th grade.
Magic,
like there'll never be a time in my life that I'll be able to think about what I'm seeing in front of me the same way I did when I was a child.
No, that ship has sailed, right?
Yeah.
Well, looks like Tim showed up from Broken Dice.
Do you think that's what we do, though, is try to recapture that feeling? That's the whole point, right?
To some degree.
Yeah, we're chasing nostalgia.
But what is nostalgia fundamentally? Isn't just that feeling of trying to have that feeling? Because at least for me, I can completely remember the feeling that I had when I did or got certain things, or like that Christmas when we got the Dungeons and Dragons game. I remember that so clearly, and it was such a magical thing. Opened up so many things that I'd never even knew existed, and but you're never going to be that young and naive or unworldly as you were back then. So will you still always have that? I don't know. Probably you don't. You get more cynical as you get older.
Yeah, we got a bunch of comments popping.
Yeah, I was going to say I should jump.
Sorry.
Well, no. We've all been. It's been actually a very good conversation.
Yeah.
And hello, Tim.
Broken Dice, Tim. Hey, Tim.
So Spotify, when we were talking about music stuff before, that's Brad. Usually someone is at war in the inner sphere or periphery power. Looks like we're talking about Battletech. Your piece up, Battletech. Here we go. Yeah, right. Someone always gets assassinated, then the war starts. You're not word of Blake. Lots of laughs. Mel says equipment getting destroyed just kind of happens though. Core out the center torso and boom. Nope, not WOB. World of Blake.
Yep, Wobbies.
I know enough about Battletech through this show to know that's. Well, you just said it too. Merc unit called the Night Stalkers, and I just painted up a lot of new plastics into the Iridani Light horse.
Yep.
I guess I never had a real plan for doing videos. Mostly it takes too long to upload from my phone to the computer than to YouTube. So I need a better setup, I guess, if I want to do more videos. That's from Mel. Clark says, for what it's worth, I think you build a better community around your channel when you make content that you want to make. It's more enjoyable for you and your viewers can see the excitement.
That's true.
Chris says, I only put up vids when I feel like it now. I never schedule vids anymore. And Tim says, what have I missed? It's been a bit.
Yeah, where do you start?
We're 7 minutes away from the typical closing of the show. We're getting close.
You have to watch it on catch up.
Having said that, I think the shows went by quick tonight. I really enjoyed it.
I can't believe it's almost 11. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. You need to find pictures. So Brad says you need to find pictures, which takes time. I'm not sure if he's talking about with making the videos.
For like thumbnails maybe or something.
Yeah.
Well, like with finding a thumbnail, it's really easy for me in a lot of cases. is that you can go into, I use video builder, whatever it's like, I got off video editor, and I just say create snapshot, and it just pops out a picture of whatever I'm clicking on. So
yeah, I do that too. But what I'll usually do is I usually have to compress it. At least with my software, and then to put on YouTube, I usually have to compress it in another piece of software. And then sometimes I used to try to put words in it too, like to say, oh, like doing this or whatever it is. But
I'll edit and like put up a like comment here, there, wherever it may be, and combine video or in my cases, I'll take a whole bunch of pictures together, like my thoughts from the Innersphere is a whole bunch of pictures, and then I'll do a voice over it.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes
I literally
will have to do a cut or two sometimes because I'll mess it completely up. But
I literally just use one of the thumbnails that it provides. 100%.
If I'll
usually
go through,
one of them's good.
If one of them is good, I'll use it. But sometimes it's like, no, it's like those are all crap, and I'll go in and create a new thumbnail that I'll use.
Yeah,
specifically for it.
Yeah, that's more than I want to do.
and that's sort of the techniques I was talking about, where like sometimes I'll just revert to things like that, where I'll not spend time kind of making a custom thing, and I'll just go and just use one of the three, like you said, and that's a way to shave time. Brad says, I enjoy the videos. As Adam Steiner said, information is ammunition.
Yes.
There you go.
Yep.
I always just try to make sure that the video quality is reasonable and the lighting's good so they can see. And then I don't do much else.
What it's like? Are you in Indiana or Ohio, Tim?
See, I always thought he was out west. I thought he was out west. I don't know where I got that.
How much work did you guys get done tonight?
A lot.
Let's see.
I worked as much as I talked.
Well, then we all did good. There you go.
I got 4 miniatures. I got the red done in 4 miniatures.
Nice.
So, yeah.
I got a fair bit done. I'm actually quite happy. I actually,
Indiana.
Indiana. Sorry about that, Tim.
It's funny. I feel bad sometimes that I host a show about miniatures, but I'm not actually doing a lot like off the show. But I have to say, like, I have enjoyed the last 2 shows because I find this actually gets me to paint, and then when I'm finished, I'm actually quite happy. And I just need to carry that over to painting more. But I found that I am quite pleased, and I think maybe for the first time tonight when we were having a show, I thought I'm going to get some painting done tonight, and I was actually looking forward to it. And then I told you guys before the show, for the audience, I run a business that and it's a 24/7 operation, and our computer system went down like 2 hours before the show, and so it was a little stressful because it went down worse than usual, and what ended up, I actually just thought, you know what, it's not healthy to think this way, but I thought, like, I could use a drink today, and I'm really looking forward to getting on the show and painting and having a drink. Like I honestly never usually feel that way, but I was like, you know what, I'm going to enjoy that drink tonight because I know it's part of the show, and I like to have a drink, and all I've had is one drink, like I guess you could probably call this 2 drinks with the way I poured it, but
right.
But I was like, I am really looking forward to chatting with the guys tonight and having a drink and painting miniatures. And
it's getting down a little bit,
but I do feel like,
well, good.
No, I do, and this makes me want to do it more. Like, just hanging out with you guys and then getting some time painting. So,
Tim
good.
had a few comments.
Well, and you bring a lot to the. Even if you're not painting regularly, Palmer, you bring a lot of. I mean, it's not like you're a newbie, and you put a lot of thought into this stuff. That's what I enjoyed about when you used to do that. That I forgot already what
Heresy Hump Day
show was called that you did. Yeah, Heresy Hump Day.
Yeah.
Because it was always really
esoteric
like
questions,
deep thinking stuff, and you still have that whether you're still enthused about the hobby. You just whether you have time or anyway.
Yeah, no, I hear what you're saying, and it's fun. I mean, like like I said, I really enjoy this, and
me too.
There are times when I thought, like, like I've struggled a little bit, like, there are times when I never wanted to really stop doing this with Rusty. Like, we've maintained it, but there are times, there's times when, like, because I've stopped doing my stuff altogether, like, there are times when I wonder, like, you go through phases and stuff, and I've always wanted to stay with it, but like shows like we've been having and just getting the painting done and stuff has made me want to continue with this, and enjoy painting miniatures, and I still enjoy the game. I mean, like, I'm still playing games, and I actually got a game on Saturday. I'm playing a Xenos Rampant. It's our third game, and then we're going to move something else, but I'm playing the Xenos Rampant, and yeah, it's still moving along and still there,
Then Tim had a comment here at the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Indiana.
No.
What? Indiana isn't bad, Dan. Are we going to be talking a bit of Big Ten smack talk?
No, actually, when I said I'm sorry, I meant actually I thought, I don't know where I got the in mind. He was from like Washington State or something. So sorry about that. But yeah, no, Indiana. Well, we'll probably get you guys in football again. Well, that'll be all right.
Well, something happened
in basketball too, right? Or no? Is there basketball Big Ten or no?
Yeah, Big Ten basketball. Yeah, Iowa's got good teams this year. Both. I don't follow basketball as close because that's too many games.
That's what I used to like, though. But it was ACC.
Okay. Yeah, football I can handle. There's like 12 games a year, and I can follow that. Anyways.
Yeah, then there's me. It's like Big Ten. What? What is that?
What? Now that stung a little bit, Rusty, but that's okay.
When I lived in North Carolina, and I worked at UNC Hospitals. I was a huge UNC fan for basketball, like Tar Heels, and carried it with me to Canada and loved it. Absolutely loved it. Became insanely into it. But then I couldn't catch the games here when I moved to Canada 20 years ago. And I just fell out of it altogether, like, because of it. I just never, and that was it. But anyway, really good show tonight. I know we're just past the 10 mark, and thank you, Dan, for joining us. It's as much as Rusty and I love talking to each other and stuff, I think that we've really enjoyed having the three of us chatting in the last number of shows. Yeah.
It works nice to have
you guys
three, because somebody's doing some painting or something, and it seems like it's hard to do both, and so the other two can kind of chat, otherwise.
Yeah, that's what I found, is that while you two were chatting away, I got a lot of work done.
And that's what I did too. I wouldn't have to pay attention to what was happening 100%, and I could get some painting done.
There isn't a lot of downtime in talking. I mean, when you have two, sometimes Rusty and I would be talking, and like, particularly if we didn't have an assigned topic and we're just to paint and chat, like sometimes there'll be like a space of time, right? And then it's the comments, like, that you're popping up that, that are filling up, and you can use the comments as a way to entertain, as people are painting and watching. But I do find this is a nice balance, having the talk, having like, lots of discussion, but being able to still paint.
Mm-hmm.
It's a really good balance. I like getting the painting done. How about you, Rusty?
Yeah, I don't mind getting a little bit of painting done. I don't get a lot done, but eventually it gets to the point where with this extra stuff, it makes it a little harder to paint, especially detailed. Everything I did tonight was all broad stroke stuff.
Yeah.
So it's not
me
bad.
Too.
Still progress.
Yep. I'm still base painting.
Done. Yeah.
And I'm still base painting. So I have not only to finish base paint on details, but I have to actually catch mistakes. I noticed mistakes from the last show.
Painting facings on my little guys. So that
there you go.
Oh yeah,
that's a nice shot there.
Yeah. What unit you painting up there?
That's going to be the 2nd Maryland.
Okay.
I've got the flag for it. The nice thing about
the Maryland regiments all brown.
Well, that's the thing about American War of Independence. It depends what year. They weren't very uniform ever, and
they did whatever they got their hands on to make it.
Yeah, whatever they get their hands on. And And supposedly this uniform was supposed to be like 1777, but a lot of it is just off of deserter reports, and it's really speculative. Even the flags, you'll see two resources that are just really, quality resources, but they'll disagree on what the flag was, and
well,
yeah.
I know we should probably hold that thought, because I think maybe we have actually another topic for the next show. What I was gonna say is, based on this topic, I'd love to see more of those, because now I'm actually interested in getting back, as I said earlier, doing the French Indian War, and even just seeing your miniature there makes me think French Indian War, because it's so similar, like, and now I'm thinking like, oh, look at that, like, I think I know what I want to do next, so we'll have to maybe chat about that in the next one. So
that'd be fine. I actually watched one of your videos just this last week, because I'm trying to figure out a paint scheme that I want to use for my red coats. And
that was you.
Yes. Who watched that stupid video?
Nobody else is. No, I'm just kidding.
No, I know. But it's
that
funny.
One guy.
Which one was it, out of curiosity?
What's that?
Which one was it that I was doing? What was I doing?
It was the one, I think it was one of your more recent ones where you were painting like 30 some of them at one time. And I was just trying to figure, because I've saved a bunch of those videos into a file that I can, because I'm trying to it's getting to be go time to pick how I want to do my reds. Yeah. And so I'm looking at what people are doing and what I like, what they used, and to get a plan.
Well, I looked at we're getting onto a whole new topic.
Yeah.
But I just looked at a specific battle and what redcoat regiment was in that battle, and I just snapshot.
The redcoats are a lot easier because that's well documented. Their flag is well documented as their facing and unit, and it was uniform throughout the war, except if they changed the length of the coat and the hat. Yeah. But everything else was pretty. And then they had the winter pants and the summer pants. But the Continentals were just completely discombobulated.
And we're gonna let you have the last word on that, Dan. To everybody.
Yeah, we'll let it go.
Have a good night.
Yeah, good night, everybody.
Good night, everyone. Thanks for the show. Good night.
Night.
Night.